You know that feeling? You have this brilliant idea in your head, but when you go to write it down, it just comes out as a jumbled mess. Well, a lot of the time, the culprit is a sneaky grammar villain, the run-on sentence. Today, we're going to learn how to spot these villains and how to fix them, which is going to make your writing way more sharp, clear, and powerful. So, let's kick things off by looking at a sentence that's in a little bit of trouble.
Take a look at this. Dealrare ran the hurdles in record time, Shauna placed second. It kind of feels breathless, doesn't it? Like it's just in a huge rush. You've got two big things happening here, but they're all just crammed together. This is exactly the kind of thing that can confuse your reader and totally weaken a great point. We're absolutely going to fix this, but first, we need to understand what's actually broken.
So, to get what's wrong, we have to know the basic building block of any sentence, and that's the main clause. Just think of it as one complete thought. It has a subject, that's the who or what, and a predicate, which is what the subject is doing. The most important part? A main clause can stand all by itself as a complete sentence. It's a self-sufficient little unit.
Okay, so a run-on sentence is pretty much what it sounds like. It's what happens when you take two of those complete thoughts, two main clauses, and you just smash them together without the right punctuation or a proper connecting word. It's basically a thought collision, and it makes your writing really hard to follow.
Now, these grammar villains are pretty sneaky. They usually show up in one of two disguises. And if you can learn to spot them, you're honestly halfway to fixing the problem. So let's meet our two main culprits.
All right, on the left, we've got the fused sentence. This is the most obvious kind of run-on. It's just two main clauses fused together with nothing, and I mean nothing, in between. Like, the law student studied hard, she passed her exam. Then on the right, you've got the trickier one, the comma splice. This is what happens when a writer thinks a little comma is strong enough to hold two whole sentences together. But it's not. That comma is just a speed bump, you know? It's not a stop sign.
But here's the good news. You don't need some complicated grammar toolbox to fix these. In fact, you really only need two simple, super powerful tools. Once you get the hang of these, you can correct any run-on sentence you come across. So our first tool is this awesome combo, a comma plus one of 7 special words called coordinating conjunctions. Let's meet them. The absolute easiest way to remember these is with the acronym fanboys. That's for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. These 7 little words are the only ones in English that can properly connect two main clauses when you pair them with a comma. You can think of them as the friendly connectors of the grammar world.
Let's circle back to our first problem sentence. We now know this is a fused sentence. Deirdre ran the hurdles in record time, Shauna placed second. You can almost feel that point where the two complete thoughts just crash right into each other.
And now, look at the fix. We just added a comma and the fanboys conjunction but. Deirdre ran the hurdles in record time, but Shauna placed second. See how that creates a nice, logical connection between the two ideas? It's smooth, it's clear, and boom, it's grammatically correct. Okay, let's try this with a comma splice. Hurdles are Sam's specialty, he likes them best. So here, the writer used a comma, which is a good start, but they forgot the second part of the tool. You have to remember, a comma all by itself just isn't strong enough. This is the crucial part. You need both pieces. We keep the comma, and we add the fanboys conjunction and. Hurdles are Sam's specialty, and he likes them best. And there you have it, a perfectly structured sentence. But what if you want a slightly different style? Let's check out our second tool. Okay, our second tool is a little more elegant, maybe a bit more sophisticated, but it is just as powerful. And it's the semicolon. So here's the rule. A semicolon can do the job of a comma and a fanboys conjunction all by itself. It connects two main clauses, but it also gives the reader a little signal that the two ideas are really closely related. Think of it like a super comma.
Let's bring back our fused sentence one last time. We've got our two complete thoughts just running into each other. And with one simple piece of punctuation, it is fixed. Dealer ran the hurdles in record time, Shauna placed second. The semicolon creates this clean, strong separation, but it still shows that these two facts are part of the same story. It's pretty cool. Now, let's use it on a comma splice. My computer isn't working. Perhaps I need to call a technician. This is such a classic example. Two closely related ideas, but they're joined improperly with just a comma. And the fix is just as clean. You simply swap that weak comma for a strong semicolon. It connects the problem to the potential solution beautifully. See how that works?
Okay, so we've learned how to spot run-ons, and now we have two great tools to fix them. But why does any of this actually matter? I mean, this is about way more than just passing an English test.
It really all comes down to this simple three-step process. First, you spot the run-on, that collision of thoughts. Second, you choose your tool. Are you feeling the comma plus fanboys combo or the elegant semicolon? And third, you fix it. And, just like that, you've transformed a confusing jumble into a crystal clear idea. Look, at the end of the day, taming the run-on sentence isn't just about following rules. It's about making your writing effective. Because when your sentences are powerful, your ideas get understood, your arguments become more persuasive, and your stories are just better.
By mastering these really simple tools, you're taking control of your own writing, and you're giving your ideas the clarity they totally deserve. So I guess the only question left is, where are you going to start? Maybe it's your own latest essay, or maybe you'll just start noticing it everywhere you look.